Just when you think that there's nothing more, right? Something always comes up, right? In regards to this community, there's always something, it seems. But what's interesting to me more than anything else is that the last couple of accusations have come from a particular group, and I'll get into all that. I'll get into all that. But needless to say, this whole thing, I don't know where I'm where I'm gonna fall on any of this, to be honest with y'all. This just to me, it doesn't surprise me anymore that every day there's people that want to fucking accuse others of stuff that is just again that hasn't really been thoroughly substantiated in my opinion. It's just running with this with a narrative, right? You just all you have to do these days, and it's a scary time. I think all you have to do is either put out a tweet longer or a Google Doc. Now, I'm by no means saying that the person making the accusations is lying. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe they're true. Maybe they're not. Um, what is really, I guess, disconcerting, and it has always been disconcerting about stuff like this, is the fact that people just they run with an accusation. They don't thoroughly vet stuff. It's always now this idea that you are guilty until proven innocent when it should be the other way around. In the court of public opinion, that seems to always be the case when it comes to social media. You're guilty until somebody can prove you innocent. There's no kind of due process involved at all. Nobody thinks about that. So here we are once again with another situation. This one is kind of interesting for a couple different reasons. Particularly, I think because of who is being implicated this time around, which is a person who had made accusations themselves. So I find that to be quite interesting that this is a person that made an accusation against somebody else a couple years ago, actually. So let me pull something up real quick, just so that just to jog everybody's memory here, and just to give a little bit of a backstory here to all this. Okay, so let me pull this up here real quick. Where is it? I'm trying to find it. All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and pull this up on screen just to give a little bit of context to all this. We'll start from here. This will be the jump point. If you guys, I'm sure you all recall this, right? Trash website, by the way, The Gamer, but we'll use their article here, right? So this was back, as you can see, July 1st, 2020. Smash Pro Puppeh details horrifying essay by fellow pro Cinnpie. You guys remember this, right? We covered it here on the channel. It's something that was talked about. Okay, something that happened. We covered. We did a pretty thorough, I think, deep dive into this situation. And if you all recall, it took Cinnpie almost a year later to finally respond, and her response was pretty lackluster. She just kind of blanket denied the whole thing and just went about switching the focus to somebody else, that she decided to go ahead and accuse of wrongdoing instead of directly addressing this, which was interesting. And remember, if you all recall, what I concluded about that particular situation was that there's no way to know the full story here, because Cinnpie, she said peace out. She said peace out, and to the best of my knowledge, hasn't been around since. I'm not even sure if her Twitter account is still up. I think I tried looking it up earlier today, and I think it's gone. I'm not, unless she changed the handle to something else. I'll have to check again. But let's go over this though real quick, right? So this is this account is harrowing to say the least. So The abuse reaches as far back as 2016 when Puppeh was 14, Cinnpie was 24. Cinnpie tackled Puppeh to the ground, began to force herself on him at a party. This again, according to Puppeh, right? Which he really just Puppeh really just went into detail about this stuff. He didn't provide any kind of evidence, not that you would expect, right? It's a claim that's being made. It's an accusation. You wouldn't expect a 14-year-old to have evidence that this happened, but this is what he claimed happened, right? Cinnpie tackled Puppeh to the ground and began to force herself on him at a party, shared a bed with him on several occasions, and solicited OS, among other things. All the while, she promised that she would get together with him when he turned 18. What followed was a series of abuses that psychologically scarred the young player. Cinnpie would force Puppeh to delete chats, gaslight him, and demand that he never tell anyone. Again, this was all according to Puppeh, right? He said that I don't have any evidence because she forced me to delete everything, right? It's not outside the realm of possibility. You know, that could be true, but it just makes things pretty difficult, right? This affected Puppeh's ability to attend pro events, and he was forced to play doubles with her and her boyfriend on a weekly basis. He notes in his post that he would BM every set in doubles, saying that he never knew how to process those emotions at the time. Cinnpie has not commented as of this writing. This is obviously a horrific, abuse on several levels. The age and maturity gap between a 24-year-old and 14-year-old is vast, and it's a special kind of evil for anyone to abuse that, not to mention illegal. Make no mistake, what Puppeh details here constitutes not only SA, but child that. As details begin to emerge, we can only hope that Cinnpie is forced to answer for both her disgusting abuse of power and sadistic, craven predatory behavior. Again, that's what was alleged. And remember, there was nothing really ironclad. She just kind of, when she finally decided to come back and address everything, she really just said, hey, I've talked to a lawyer. She crafted this. It was very bizarre because apparently she had her lawyer essentially draw up a cease and desist letter for the internet to stop talking about it, which of course, as we all know, that's never going to happen. Once something's out there, it's a Streisand effect, right? People are going to talk about this stuff, whether you want them to or not. Once it's out there, it's out there. It's like, you're not going to stop the momentum. And especially if you tell people they can't do something, that's all the more reason that they'll want to do it. So she put out that kind of blanket statement. Then she provided her own evidence, which honestly really didn't really help anything in my opinion, because she just kind of made it seem like, oh, well, Puppeh, this 14-year-old kid bullied me, a grown woman. Oh, okay. He was a little jerk to me, basically. And I befriended him because I just wanted him to stop being a jerk to me. That's basically what it boiled down to, which again, not the best response. And then she went ahead and she was accusing this guy named Zephyr, I believe, of bad stuff. A guy who goes by the online handle of Zephyr. She accused him of doing some bad stuff. They were taking advantage of her. Oh, that's the other thing too. If you guys remember in her statement, she also said that she never did anything to anyone, but if she did do anything, it was because she was drugged and she was intoxicated due to somebody else, apparently. So, which again, always within a realm of the realm of possibility that that's true. But again, she didn't directly address this kid's claim. She just kind of blanket dismissed him and kind of threw a thing out there that if something did happen, that she was basically not cognizant of it happening, which, as we all know, that wouldn't save you in a court of law, right? It doesn't save guys. It's not going to save a girl. You being, too messed up to remember is not going to save you from any kind of legal action or prosecution. So, again, but it was kind of left in the air. I concluded pretty much because of the fact that she dipped, and I did try to reach out to get her side of stuff. I did try to reach out through an intermediary, through a proxy. Those efforts, unfortunately, failed. I was not able to get in contact with her. So where it stands right now, again, I don't know. There's no way to know for sure because, again, she hasn't been back since, and I don't think she'll ever address this stuff. Honestly, I don't think she's coming back. I think she dipped out and that's it. You know what I mean? So it kind of leaves things up in the air. Did what this kid say really happened? Maybe. The one guy that provided any kind of evidence, the guy that she had accused after the fact, the older guy, he was a guy that came out in defense of Puppeh, and kind of showed that she does have at least a pattern of behavior of, at the very least, of at least using her, um, I guess, appeal as a woman to manipulate guys. Because if you guys remember that when we went over the Curious Case of Cinnpie, that video, check it out if you guys haven't. Remember that it was he was the only guy that shared any kind of screenshots of DMs that he had with her where she sent him either lewd or nude photos, obviously trying to entice him, right? In order to, I guess, get him to eat out of her hands. So she did come off as manipulative, at least in those messages. But again, there's no way to know for sure, right? This person. I mean, could she have done it? Certainly within the realm of possibility. But we also have to look at the possibility that Puppeh could have been making the whole thing up because she maybe told him stuff when he was young. Hey, look, if you were older, if you were my age, or older, or if you're at least 18, then maybe, but you're just a kid, whatever, you know what I mean? And then there was the video, of course, of their interactions at a tournament back when he was 14. And a lot of people ran with that saying, oh, see, this is proof. Look at the way she's interacting with him. Yeah, probably not the most appropriate way to interact with a kid, but it wasn't like, she was like being huggy with him. But again, I could see the defense for that being like, well, I looked at him as kind of like my cute little brother or whatever. You know what I mean? Sure, maybe I shouldn't have been all huggy and stuff with him, but it's not like she was, at least from what I saw in the video, I could see there being an argument for that. It was playful and innocent. It wasn't anything that had any kind of sexual overtones or anything like that. So who knows? I mean, but again, I don't know. I'm not a professional. I can't, I didn't see anything in there that would be like, I could see that, again, the interaction, one could construe that as not being appropriate for a person her age and a kid that age. But at the same time, it wasn't anything as salacious as it was made out to be either. It was just one of those like, it probably shouldn't interact like that with the kid. But at the same time, it's not like she grabbed up on him. You know what I'm saying? So it just, I don't know. It just, again, I haven't reached a conclusion of that because I don't think we'll ever really get to one. So fast forward right to yesterday. Let's get to yesterday. So what really kicked things off in regards to Puppeh being accused of something seemed to stem from this. Okay. This is a tweet that was made by this account, SSB, who was commenting about Super Smash Con 2023. I guess about their safety restrictions. As you can see here, attendees are encouraged to wear a mask while indoors. And he commented, for me personally, instead of mask, can we put something like, oh, I don't know, minors need to make sure they stay with their parent/guardian. Alcohol will not be permitted inside the facility. SH will not be tolerated. I don't know, just my 2 cents, bro. Which, fair. We see franchise commented on it here. But fair, right? I think that's a fair thing to bring up. Okay. So for whatever reason, it seems like Puppeh decided to comment on that. Okay. And this is what he put. Let me bring it up for you guys here. Where is it at? Here we go. I think it's this one. Nope, it's this one. So Puppeh had tweeted this out, right? He said, well, since SmashCon didn't explicitly say I can't SH people, I know what I'll be doing. So he decided to tweet that out. Okay. Um, he decided to tweet that out. And then somebody by the name of Memphis decided to put this out. Now, this tweet has since been deleted, but I managed to get it archived before that. So I'm going to go ahead and show this right here so you guys can see. This was something that somebody by the name of Memphis tweeted out. He said, bro's not even joking. And then he put out these screenshots that are allegedly of Puppeh potentially, allegedly sexually harassing somebody. So let me go ahead and put those up here. So let me start off with this one. All right. We'll go to this one right here. So this is the tweet, right? Bro's not even joking. So this is what he put out, right? So what he did is he quote tweeted Puppeh's tweet, and then he put these pictures, and we'll look at these pictures right here. So there is this one. All right, let's go to the first one. No, wait. Here we go. Sorry, folks. I got a lot of stuff to go over, so I got like a bunch of tabs open, so just bear with me. But this is here we go. So this is one of the messages, as you can see, right? This is I believe this was a Snapchat message. There's no date on it, but we'll get into when this allegedly happened. But as you can see here, somebody took a picture of the phone. I'm so obsessed. Help, need it, right? Somebody took a picture of the phone. Now, to me, this always raises a red flag when people do this, because it's like they're obviously saving some evidence to potentially weaponize against somebody later. Because if you guys are familiar with Snapchat, and we went over this when we went over the Louis Caliber stuff, right? The reason why this person took a picture of the phone with another phone is because on Snapchat, if you take a screenshot, it alerts the other person that you took a screenshot of the Snapchat. So this person took a picture of this, obviously not wanting Puppeh to know that they took a picture of this. Now, what does this message mean? I don't know, because we don't see the full context of this message. We just see him saying this, and this is pretty ambiguous. So what does this mean, right? I'm so obsessed. Help, need it. What does he need? What is he talking about? This is out of context. But this is supposed to be some kind of damning evidence. We're supposed to, I guess, assume, or, presume that this is in response to something, I guess, much more nefarious. I don't know. Seems pretty innocuous to me, but again, we don't know. We don't know what the context here. Now, the other thing that was shared was this, which I thought was interesting. Not a Snapchat message, right? Something completely different, presumably from the same person, right? This message presumably belongs to the same person who took a picture of their phone, right? So again, we have timestamps on here, no date of when this occurred, but it says, Puppeh, oh, do you not? Oops, MB, not sure what that means. Hey, sorry, I've been playing Smash all day, and no, I don't. Gotcha. Play me one day. I guess this means for real. I will dick you down. Not the most appropriate thing to say to somebody, right? But obviously, at least in terms of this conversation, what he's saying here, right? The context we know has to do with Smash Brothers, right? I've been playing Smash all day, and no, I don't. Got you. Play me one day for real. And then he says, I will dick you down. Again, probably not the most appropriate way to interact with what we are presuming is a girl, right? In this situation. but in context, we know that it's regarding the game. At least the little context that we have. Who knows what the rest of the conversation was like? No idea. Maybe there's a lot worse stuff in there. And I guess the most damning one, I guess, would be this, which again, even then, it's just like we're not seeing the full context, right? But again, probably not the most appropriate thing. This person again took a picture of their phone with another phone, presumably, to make sure that he wouldn't know that they were taking a picture of the Snapchat. So it says, "Your ass is so nice." Okay. So these were leaked by this Memphis guy. He leaked these messages, about Puppeh. So then I guess the person who those messages belonged to decided that they had to, I don't know, I guess get out ahead of it in some way and address it, even though they weren't specifically named. As far as I can tell, they were not specifically named. Okay. So this person comes out, and I've redacted, as if you guys have noticed here, I've redacted this. These messages are still on Twitter. I've redacted them for a couple reasons here. Number one, this person is allegedly 16. You can see it right here. That's the only thing I left. 16-year-old. Puppeh would, I believe, be right now. Puppeh was 14 in 2016. So obviously by 2020, 18, it's 2023 now. So add 3 years to that, he would be roughly either 2021 right now. And allegedly these conversations happened in 2022, which you see it down here in the tweet, in December of 2022, which would make this girl, if it hasn't been her birthday yet, she was either 16 at the time or 15 at the time. Puppeh would have been either 2021. Not the most appropriate things that he said, but at the same time, again, I don't see anything. The most, I guess, an appropriate thing would be your ass is so nice, again. And that's presuming this is all the same person. And the reason why I say that is because of things that this person, things that this girl, this accuser said herself. So she put this out, Puppeh, Google Doc, and we'll go over the Google Doc. And then says, "I just ask that people not make jokes about it because this is really difficult. This is a really difficult thing to go through. And seeing people make light of it isn't making me feel better at all." Technical's response: "What are the dates on the Snapchat messages, if you don't mind me asking?" The first one was around Christmas of 2022. I believe the second was July 2022. And the third was maybe October of 2022. So the first message that we saw, she claims, was around Christmas. The second one, the one that was, I guess, the text message, or I think that's the Apple Messenger, the way they look on Apple or whatever, or something, or maybe it's another social media site. I don't know. Maybe somebody could help me with that in the chat. That one was apparently in July of 2022, and the third was October of 2022. So these are all kind of like out of sequence as it is, right? Then they say, "I'm sorry, I'm not sure of the exact dates because I don't have these images saved on my phone anymore." So that's kind of interesting, right? So we have a person that is taking ownership, is saying that those messages are mine. Mind you, they weren't outed by the person that originally shared them. They put them out there. The person, but this person, this is the person who they belong to, but she doesn't have those images anymore, which is, I find that to be odd, right? Okay, so how did the other person get them? Now, in fairness, the other person probably got them before any of this went public, right? Maybe a long time ago. Maybe they were sitting on them for a while and we're waiting for a chance to release them. I don't know. It's certainly within the realm of possibility, right? And that's what we're going to be speaking about a lot here tonight, right? Is the possibility, right? But there's issues here. Right? This person saying, these happened. I don't have the exact dates because I don't have that stuff anymore. Okay. All right. Kind of a red flag, but doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that for sure that this person is lying, right? Doesn't mean that this person's lying. They could be telling the truth. I don't know. If they are, in fact, 16 years old, as they claim, um, probably lacked they might lack the wherewithal and maturity or foresight, to be a little bit more thorough, right? We could give them the benefit of the doubt, maybe, right? That's possibly true. But again, um, with accusations, as you know, evidence is everything, especially if it's substantiated evidence, So this is what the Google Doc says. We're going to go into the Google Doc now. So this is the Google Doc that this person had typed up. And I want to draw your attention to a couple things on here because I think this is important. So, Puppeh, I apologize for bad grammar, spelling, or punctuation. This was made on short notice, and I'm currently having a breakdown. Thank you. Also, I would use Twit longer, but it's down. So, TWSA, ARP, and self-deletion. Me and Puppeh started being friends early in my Twitter days, and we've always been kind of distant. We would mostly talk about Smash, and he would always ask me how I'm doing and if I'm doing okay. He began making comments about my appearance, and I never really thought anything weird about it, but I still made note of it by taking pictures of the images. I'm aware of the age gap, and neither of us ever spoke or were interested in dating the other, and I never liked him as anything more than a friend. I showed a few of my close, trusted friends, and that's when I began to notice that it was a little weird. I planned on making a statement about it, but was scared because of past experiences I've been through regarding being SA'd online. SA'd online. Huh. Interesting, right? Interesting way to put that. Okay. And because of my general negative appearance / reputation on Twitter. Regarding my bad mental health, the Smash community has not helped with this and have continued to criticize my every move, which led to my self-esteem being at an all-time low. Although more recently, I've been doing progressively better, I still have moments like these when I realize how hard it is to be happy when I have people surrounding me who want anything but that. But I've learned to try to put that aside and not take the good people I've met for granted, because ever since I've joined the community, I've met some of the most loving, caring, supportive friends. For that, I am grateful. Back to the situation going on now, though. I always put aside making a proper statement simply because I don't know how. I know people will say there's holes in my story. Oh, that's an understatement. And I didn't give enough detail, but the truth is there isn't much to be said. He would just DM me here and there, giving me compliments. I agree that it is weird and uncomfortable, especially due to the age gap. I didn't mean to put it aside for so long and act like it doesn't matter, because it does. I just could never bring myself to say anything because although he said concerning things to me, we were good friends and our friendship was mostly innocent other than the things he would say here and there. Regarding Memphis' decision to post it without my permission, it is so utterly degenerate to do that to someone and cause them to undergo immense stress just for your own clout, to then close your DMs and block me. How much of an a-hole can you be? I'm sorry, but this is so insanely disrespectful to take someone's hurtful experience and proceed to post it for attention. I hope in the future you can learn from this, and I hope you understand how much this has impacted me negatively. I just ask that moving forward, people don't ask me or bring this up at SmashCon or online at all. Well, kind of let the genie out of the bottle there, right? You brought it up online, people are going to talk about it. Now, do you guys notice something about the twit longer here? Right? This kind of interesting. So she doesn't make any kind of accusations that he said anything. Like, he might have said an inappropriate thing here and there, right? But she's not saying that he solicited her for any pictures or anything like that. She's not claiming that any of the conversations that she had with him, and it's not to say that they didn't, because again, maybe she has more, but she's not claiming that any of the conversations that she had with him were overtly sexual. So I'm really struggling to understand what the point of any of this is. Maybe she has a bombshell that she just hasn't dropped yet, right? And she claims herself that, hey, look, this guy released this stuff without my permission. So I can only presume that the Memphis guy was somebody that she knew, that was either a part of her inner circle that she had shared this with, and he shared it without her consent. It's certainly possible. She does claim in later tweets, which we'll go over, that she did not give this guy the go-ahead to release any of this stuff, and she seemed to be upset. And when she tried to hit him up about it, he apparently blocked her, and would I guess she initially tried to DM him first, but he blocked her. And she was not able to get in contact with him. So, what did Puppeh have to say about this? Well, Puppeh decided that, well, here, let me just show you. It's better if I just show you. It is just better if I show you guys. Let me see. So check this out. Here we are. Puppeh basically pulled a Waddy, right? He decided, I'm out. You know what I mean? Didn't address it. That certainly, now there are people that are taking this as a sign of guilt. It's like, oh, well, why is he running? Why is he gone? Why doesn't he address it? Could be true, right? Could be true. Could be he's hiding something. I don't know. Could be that he just doesn't want to deal with it because he's just like, screw this. I just don't want to deal with this stuff. It's not true, but I just don't want to deal with it. Who knows? Who knows? There's no way to know for sure, because again, I don't think that somebody not addressing something immediately necessarily points to their guilt, because we've seen situations like this before in the past, haven't we? We saw it with Andy Signor, right? Took him about 2 years before he finally addressed his situation because he was under a gag order. He couldn't talk about it. We also remember with the Pro Jared situation, took him a few months till he finally addressed it publicly. So I don't think somebody not addressing a situation, I don't think is necessarily indicative of them being guilty of something. But it's definitely not a good look. And I can see why other people might see this as a sign of guilt. Oh, he running. He must have done something. Because why would he run, right? Why would he run? If he didn't do anything, why deactivate his account? Could be that he's waiting to craft a proper response and just doesn't want the noise. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being charitable to him. There's no way to know. He could be 100% guilty. Who knows? Maybe he is guilty of stuff. I don't know. That's the thing. There's so little, right? That's out here about this right now. So there's no way to know. There's just no way to know. So the next thing I'll show you guys is this, right? This I think is interesting. Let's go to this one here, because I want to continue on down this thread. So this was the girl in question talking about it, right? Because this guy says, not to be rude, but do you have any screenshots of the conversations you have, just to make sure you're not lying about these allegations? But if it did happen, that sucks that it happened to you. She says, these were posted without my permission, and I have many more, but I refuse to post them. Huh. I mean, maybe there is a legal reason why she can't. I mean, that she can't post them. I don't know. It's possible. But it's interesting, right? And then she shows one of her own tweets that she had quote tweeted, right? And we'll go over this one here. It says, hi, these are from my phone, and I did not give Memphis permission to post this. I don't even know how he got a hold of these images, and this will be under investigation. I was planning on releasing a twit longer after SmashCon, so I wasn't uncomfortable, but unfortunately, and we'll go down this thread. Well, actually, let's go down that, because I have that thread here, I believe. Yeah, here we go. We'll go ahead and pull this up and go down the thread here that she posted here. So she says, yeah, unfortunately, that is no longer in my control. I will make a tweet longer eventually explaining everything. This is just a quick post under short notice addressing it. I don't know why he posted that without my permission. I don't know who's been spreading these images around, but I will. And we'll go on to the next one here. So it doesn't seem like, so this is a person that she's unfamiliar with that she claims spread this without her knowledge. Probably a friend of a friend, maybe leaked it to this guy. Around, but I will find out on my own since Memphis blocked me and has DMs off. On top of that, I just ask that anybody DMs me or asks me anything about this until further notice. I'm guessing she says that nobody DMs me or asks me anything about this until further notice. Yes, these screenshots and images are real, but again, I will be making a tweet longer later on explaining things. Okay, so I guess she's claiming she'll get into further detail about it at her own pace, which I guess that's fine. But it really makes me it's weird because she claims that she refuses to release stuff, but you're still planning on releasing stuff. It's just kind of weird. It's like, are you planning to or not? You refuse to release those DMs, but you are planning to release those DMs. So it seems a little bit, I don't know, seems a little wishy-washy. Maybe they'll follow through with it. Maybe they won't. Maybe we just have to wait, right? But it's just weird. It's all very bizarre, right? So this was a tweet from this person. So they say, what y'all don't understand is that I was going to say something eventually. I just needed time to process it all. Memphis posted it before I was even close to being ready. It's unfair to have me deal with these kinds of people who don't even try to see it from my point of view. And I guess, I mean, that's a fair thing to say. I guess, you should be able to, I guess, tell your side when you're ready. I think, though, if there was any true wrongdoing, of course, especially as it pertains to anything illegal, probably should go to the police. But that's just my opinion. This is what I hate about these online situations with people, is that it's always, let's run to the internet first. Let's run to the internet first and tell everybody, instead of trying to resolve it how anybody would normally resolve it. This is what kids do now. They just run to the internet, to tell their story, right? So this person says to them, you better lawyer up because you just accused some of possible crimes, not to mention this could be an easy defamation case. When will you MFs learn to speak to legal counsel before the internet? I mean, that's a fair point to bring, but I don't know that this person necessarily accused Puppeh of any crimes. But if we look at the Google Doc, it does kind of make it seem like there's that it's alluding to something more nefarious, right? Even though that's not what's said here, right? Because look at this. TW, SA, ARP, and self-deletion. But yet in this statement here, nothing except for them saying that they were SA'd online, which I'm trying. I wonder what specifically that would entail, or how this person would perceive that. But I guess you could, I best say maybe she's been in situations where she's talked to people that were much older, of adult age. Again, presuming this person is indeed 16, that they've talked to somebody of adult age and maybe they were potentially groomed online and, exchanged photos with a person, maybe that kind of illegal activity or something like that. Obviously that would be, maybe that's what they're trying to refer to, but there's no way to know because they're not clearly defining anything in their Google Doc here. So let's go back to this though real quick. Here it is. So she says, I didn't willingly post these quote unquote accusations. I didn't mean to get myself twisted into this. I've been in contact with Puppeh since this all went down, and he's apologized several times, implying he is guilty of everything that happened. There's nothing legal going on. It's Twitter. Interesting. So it begs the question, okay, what is really the point of all this, right? You know, because you called somebody else, essentially called this Memphis guy clout chaser. So is it because he siphoned off some of the clout that would go your way? You know, I'm trying to wrap my head around this. What the end game goal here is with any of this. I mean, again, is there something much more nefarious when this person finally does decide to share the messages? Is there something that was illegal that happened, that was legit illegal that shouldn't have happened? I don't know. It's so vague, and they're waiting till after a convention to release this all. I find that interesting too. It's just like that you're specifically waiting after a convention. Why after the convention? But I guess, look, I guess they wanted to put that aside to go have fun. That's fine. I mean, they're a teenager. I'm sure fun is much more important than anything else at this point in time. At this point in time in a teenager's life, I guess I don't know what this person's priorities are. So, but it's interesting that they say that they've talked to Puppeh, who has gone pretty much radio silent, at least on Twitter. And it's not to say, again, it's possible that Puppeh has been in contact behind the scenes with this person, but we have to, I guess, take their word for it, right? Which, as you all know, I'm not a big proponent of that. I'm not going to take somebody's word for it unless they have something to back that up, right? But I'm sure that the rebuttal to that would be like, well, I can't back it up because he called me on the phone. He called me on the phone and I don't have a recording of it. So, yeah, but he called me and told me, he apologized. And again, and I could see where, look, in fairness to this kid, I could see where, because that is how society does view some things sometimes, right? An apology is looked at as an admission of guilt, even though it's not necessarily an admission of guilt. But there are people that do look at it as an admission of guilt when it comes to stuff. But again, we have to just, I guess, take her word for it that this happened, right? Which you all know me, I'm a facts and evidence guy, a facts and substantiated evidence guy. So need a little bit more. And again, Puppeh is radio silent. So, this is from before. Oh yeah, this is I shared this out of order. My bad. So this was when Technicals was asking what are the dates on the Snapchat, which they responded. He said, "Yeah, no worries. Just need a rough estimate at the very least." And then this person said, nah. Here comes the Technicals doc on Puppeh and shit." And then this person, the girl says, "He better ask permission first, if anything." He doesn't really need to ask permission anymore. It's at a point where now it's been publicly shared. Whatever shared publicly, if Technicals wanted to talk about it, he could, just like I'm doing right now. I don't need to ask permission to speak about any of this publicly because it's out there in a public space. It's on Twitter. It's on a social media site. That's public domain. It's out there for everyone to see. So, but it just goes to show, I mean, that leads me to kind of believe that this person is probably legit a kid that they don't understand, right? Because you see it here. He doesn't need permission to post those screenshots, so stop saying that. Yes, the F he does. This is my private business that he took no part in. You have no idea what you're talking about, and I'm so embarrassed for you. See, this shows me that this person doesn't know what they're talking about. So, I mean, at least from this kind of response, I would be inclined to believe that this is a young person that doesn't realize how any of this stuff works once it's out there. So, let's go on to the next thing here. So this is stuff that I found really interesting here, and I have a little bit more, but I'll probably have to redact. But we see this was the interaction they had with this person, the Psalms person that says he's apologized several times, implying that he's guilty of everything that happened. That is not necessarily true. People can switch up at any moment. For instance, Zero came back with legal documents silencing everything. I wouldn't say that he came back with legal documents silencing everything. We just know that in Zero's instance, he admitted to stuff and then he recanted it, right? He basically recanted a lot of those admissions. And then we found out that some of the stuff that he had initially admitted to, and then he recanted, right? He admitted to it. Then we found out that stuff wasn't true, right? We found out that the stuff with the some of the stuff that was alleged to have happened in the Sky House regarding him, that he initially admitted to, turned out it wasn't true, due to witness testimony, people that actually lived at the Sky House, and some other things, right? So, and in regards to the whole Katie thing, the ice cream thing, that to this day there has never been any DMs to prove that happened. Just an admission from him, which he then recanted, which again seems to be a pattern of behavior of his, that he'll admit to certain things and then recant them after the fact. So we have this person saying, we really don't know Puppeh at the end of the day. I'm assuming meant to say that he's not guilty, but could be wrong. Let's see. Puppeh would do best to learn or be labeled. Did you mean guilty or not guilty, just to make things easier? And then this person says, guilty. He was apologizing to me and admitted to being a bad person for what he did to me, and promised me that he did truly care about me and didn't mean to be a quote unquote horny freak. He knows he's in the wrong. Again, this is, we have to take this person's expecting us to take their word for it, right? That what they're saying is true. And like I've always said, that to me, and again, maybe once they post, once they finally decide to make their little twit longer, or maybe they're going to make a revised Google Doc where they drop all the receipts, maybe there's going to be stuff in there that's going to be hard for Puppeh to refuse. But right now, I'm not inclined to believe that he's 100% guilty of anything until I see something solid or concrete, right? Because what's interesting, again, we go back to this person says, they put this here, but then don't really even allude to anything even remotely close of this stuff happening. And when we look at the messages, right, and I'll pull those back up, while they aren't appropriate, when we look at the context of some of them, I'm not seeing anything to me that is just to me that is like, oh, 100%, this kid is a freak. He could be. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, a lot of these people in the Smash community, they are degens. But what's interesting to me is, and this is something I'm going to point out to everybody right now, it's pretty interesting that it's Puppeh, right? Because a few months back, you all remember, Wadi was accused by Puppeh's older brother, Squirk. You guys remember that? We went over that on a stream, right? He was accused of some stuff that honestly, in my opinion, wasn't that bad. It was like relationship stuff that is just, Squirk alleges that him and Wadi did things that went beyond, I guess, just kissing, although there's no way to prove that, right? There's no way to prove that. But that's what he alleges. And the person that Wadi was in the relationship with, right? The trans person that Wadi was in a relationship with also said some things that honestly, to me, weren't really all that damning. Although that person alluded to Wadi, I guess, mouth violating them, even though that's not what they even said. So it was weird. It was very strange. To me, it just seemed like a relationship that went bad on both counts, and these people just airing their grievances about it. And I'm just like, yeah, I can't look at these situations and say, oh, you know what? For sure, he should absolutely be canceled for this stuff. I'm like, no, this seems like relationship bullshit that doesn't really need to be made public. It seems like two relationships that went south, and I'm not convinced that, there's any real wrongdoing here. I think that the guy is just an idiot. Is he a degen? Probably. But did he do anything illegal? And I'm talking about Wadi here. Did Wadi do anything illegal? That doesn't appear to be the case. But it's interesting that Wadi, right, who was involved with Squirk, who is Puppeh's older brother, Wadi was also the fiance of Cinnpie. So it's like the last couple of accusations, right, of misconduct, if you will, have come from these people, from this little group of people, that are from Virginia, this small little group. The last like three instances of this misconduct have come from this group that is closely tied together, from Puppeh, Wadi, Squirk. It's interesting, you know what I mean? Now, is it truly misconduct? I don't know. I mean, I would say it's probably just more degeneracy than anything else, but is there any true wrongdoing here? I don't know. It's really hard to say. I mean, some of the stuff sounds really bad, right? When you see the stuff that Puppeh said about Cinnpie, but again, it's not ironclad. I don't think that anybody can say beyond a reasonable doubt, oh, hey, for sure, Cinnpie is guilty. There's no way to know. There's no way to know. Just like right now, there's no way to know that Puppeh is 100% guilty of anything. He could be. He absolutely could be. That's what I'm saying. I'm not on anybody's side in this, by the way. I just want to let you guys know. I'm not on Puppeh's side. I'm not on this accuser side. I just think it's fascinating that it could be a coincidence, but I don't tend to believe in coincidences. But it's funny that these last couple of accusations has come from this very small group, this very specific group of people. You know what I mean? Squirk, Wadi, Cinnpie, Puppeh, right? It comes from somebody within that group. They're either accusing somebody else within that group of doing some shit, or somebody's accusing them, it looks like, of doing some shit. It's weird, you know? And it feels like in the Smash community particularly, it's like this thing of now everybody's running to accuse somebody of something in the Smash community. And I'm sure there's probably some legitimacy to, there could be some legitimacy to some of it. We know probably the worst instance is probably the Nairo Captain Zach stuff, right? And Captain Zach, in and of himself, the stuff that he's been involved in is pretty, it's pretty bad, right? So there's definitely degenerates in this community, but it's like, it almost seems like there's also this part of the Smash Brothers community that wants to grasp at straws too, to make something bigger than what it actually might be. Now, again, I can't say with any kind of certainty that that's the case, but it's possible. It just seems like there always seems to be something that's coming out every so often. But I just find it really, really interesting that at least within the last couple instances, it's been this particular group of people that it's come out of. And again, but what's interesting about this particular group of people is that there's nothing ironclad. There's nothing that 100% substantiates any of the claims that they've made or any of the claims that have been made against them. You know what I mean? It sounds compelling. It could be true, but we don't have that. We don't have that smoking gun, right? We have yet to see a smoking gun in any of these instances, right? We've yet to see the smoking gun in the Puppeh Cinnpie situation. We have yet to see a smoking gun in the Wadi situation, the Wadi and Squirk and, the other person's situation. And we've yet to see a smoking gun in this situation. Could we see one? Absolutely. It's certainly within the realm of possibility. But for the time being, if this is the best, right? If this is the best that we can hope for, right? If the messages are along the lines of this, okay? Along the lines of this, right? Or along the lines of this, right? Which again, this is not an appropriate thing to say to somebody if this indeed happened last year, right? And you're like 20, 21 saying this to somebody that is that much younger than you, probably not the smartest thing. It's inappropriate. But again, here's the thing though. The context of this, even though what he's saying here, right? I will dick you down. The context here is not in a sexual situation, right? Because we're seeing they're talking about playing the Smash game, the Smash Brothers, right? Hi, sorry, I've been playing Smash all day, and no, I don't. Gotcha. Play me one day for real. I will dick you down. It could just be him talking shit and not realizing like, hey, this is not one of my guy friends that I could talk this kind of shit to, not realizing that this might be weaponized against him. He could have, you know what I mean? And again, being a little bit charitable here, or maybe he knew exactly what he was saying. Who knows? And maybe there was undertones that he was sending when he posted that. But again, you know, it's when it comes to fighting games and people that play fighting games, a lot of them talk mad shit. So, and then you have this right here. Your ass is so nice. Again, probably not the best thing to say to somebody that is of the age, of the alleged age that this person is and the age you are. And again, we don't know. She claims that these are hers, but then she also says, remember, she also did say she doesn't have these messages anymore. Remember, we saw that earlier. She claimed that she didn't have these messages anymore. So what does that mean? Does that mean these specific ones that this guy named Memphis, you don't have these specific messages anymore? The picture of these ones or the actual messages? What do you mean? You don't have these pictures, these screenshots, these pictures? You don't have these pictures anymore, or you don't have the actual messages anymore? So, because she didn't really clarify that. She didn't clarify that. She didn't really clarify that one or the other, right? So it's just like that again, there's a lot of unanswered stuff. And maybe she says that she's going to make a document or a tweet longer about it. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see what that has in it. But where it stands right now, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It kind of reminds me a little bit of the Cinnpie situation and the Wadi situation. It seems like here's another interesting little tidbit for y'all, right? About this situation. So when the Puppeh and Cinnpie stuff happened, Cinnpie, she left. She didn't deactivate her her Twitter account, but she was out. She stopped responding to tweets. I believe she also kept her Instagram active, but she stopped responding on Instagram. She left the internet. She left her social media up, but she left the internet. She didn't respond to any of it until almost a year later, where she finally posted a statement about it on Twitter and pinned it. Then we had the Wadi situation, right? Wadi initially addressed it, right? But then Wadi said, I'm out, and didn't address any more of the situation. And now we have Puppeh immediately, just deactivates Twitter. He's out. Doesn't address the situation. Again, same group, right? These are it came from the same group. It's just like they all handled it the same way. They handled it by not handling it. And maybe that's a genius move. I don't know. Maybe that's some 4D chess or something that they're trying to play. I don't know. But it's interesting. I just find it fascinating. Is that they have all reacted the same way. They've decided to handle it by just leaving. It's crazy. Again, it's just like, is it a coincidence? I don't know. Maybe is it a Virginia thing? I don't know. But it's just, these are all people that have had accusations again, either against each other, right? Or now in Puppeh's case, from somebody outside of the group accusing them. But he handles it the same way that his predecessors handled it, right? By leaving the internet. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, Bowsette, if she leaves the internet too, right? I wouldn't be surprised. That would be funny, and it would honestly say a lot. It would honestly say a lot if she decided to be like, yeah, I'm going to address it later in a tweet longer, and then all of a sudden, next week or tomorrow, her Twitter's deactivated too, and it's just like, well, guess we'll never find out. Because that's the thing, like with the Wadi stuff, it left the same kind of void that the Cinnpie situation did, right? It's like he took a cue from her. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just going to leave. I'm not going to address this stuff, and fuck it. Let people draw whatever conclusion. I'm out. I'm done. And that seems to be the way to handle it, I guess, for these people. It's just like by not handling it at all. Now it's not entirely possible that Puppeh might be crafting a response. Maybe he just deactivated. Maybe he's coming back. I don't know. But Wadi's been gone for what, like, it's been what, 3-4 months since his situation, and nothing. And again, I don't think that, honestly, just my opinion, at least from what's out there publicly against Wadi, I don't think there was anything bad. You know what I mean? At worst, you could say, I guess he was a bad boyfriend. He's bad in relationships. But I'm just like, he didn't assault, he didn't SA anybody as far as I know. Although there's, again, the trans person alludes to him SAing them, but they don't say that. They don't say that. They basically say that they consented to it. So I'm like, okay, so what? So you're willing to allow people to come to the conclusion that Wadi SA'd you, but you don't have the audacity to say that. Like, but you're not going to say it yourself. So if you're not willing to say it yourself, there's two reasons why, right? It's because you don't truly believe that. You know what I mean? You don't truly believe that you were SA'd, right? That you probably weren't SA'd, right? Or that saying so would put you in a bad situation. You at least have enough self-awareness to know that if you did say something like that, you could be putting yourself on the hook for defamation, right? So but I don't know, man. I don't know. But they were perfectly okay with people coming to the conclusion that Wadi, mouth violated them, which was weird. I'm just like, okay. I'm like, yeah, that's a tough sell, because it doesn't sound like you're saying that Wadi coerced you. But again, it's one person's word versus the other. And all the stuff, the whole thing, it just really, the rest of it didn't sound good for that person that made that claim, because they essentially were roundabout admitting to the fact that they used Wadi, but they were used by Wadi. You know what I mean? They were saying, oh, well, I used him. You know what I mean? Oh my God, but I can't believe he used me. It's just like, all right, well, I don't feel bad, because at least by your own admission, you had no interest. You didn't seem to have any interest in Wadi at all until you could get something from him. That being a roof over your head and the ability to be, and the ability to be financially supported by him. So you didn't want to be with him until it was convenient for you to be with him. So it's just like, yeah, how am I supposed to feel bad about this person? You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't think he is at all. But that's the thing. That's the problem with a lot of these accusations, right? When they come out, is that people are willing to lead people to come to that conclusion, but they won't say that, right? Like this, when you see something like this, right? It makes you think, all right, there's something that's going to be really bad in here about Puppeh. And then you read it and it's just like, this doesn't sound bad at all. Like it could be. It could be that this person just doesn't know how to put stuff together well enough. So it could be worse. Maybe they have something, like I said, that's really bad. Like, I think if you have an instance where, I don't know, Puppeh like sent this girl his junior, right, in a picture or something, then all right, there might be some real legal problems that he could potentially be facing here, right? Or if he solicited her for any pictures, right, then there could be some real problems there, right? And maybe depending on what he said, right? If he said something that was super, super vulgar and talked about doing very nasty and illegal things, then maybe, yeah, again, there might be he might be on the hook for some stuff. But it's, I think this is going to be another one of those situations where I guess it just depends on how people perceive it, and basically, one person's word against the other. So I don't know. This whole thing is just, it doesn't surprise me anymore. It's just like people running to the internet quick. And in fairness to this person, right? To this girl that's accusing Puppeh, in fairness to her, she didn't run to the internet first. It was this other guy that told her story. But here's the thing though, right? The guy didn't name her, right? He put the story out, he put stuff out there that was completely out of context, didn't name her, but she took it upon herself to pretty much out herself, which I think that might have been a misstep on her part too. She didn't have to do that. I think she could have still told her story when she wanted to tell her story, I guess, even though I think, again, this whole shit of telling your story, me personally, I find it kind of fucking stupid. Again, unless it's something really bad happened, you know what I mean? And you've gone to the police, you've gone through the proper channels, you've done all the stuff that you're supposed to do first, and you have no other recourse but to then go to the internet to tell your story, then I understand that, right? I understand that. Take it easy, Don Don. Um, then I understand that, right? You feel no other recourse. You're just like, I've gone to the police. It's been over a year. It's been like 2 years. Nothing's happening. I feel there's nothing else I could do. I've exhausted all the other options I have. And I think that this guy's a problem. So I want to make sure that nobody else, falls prey to him or whatever, right? So I'm gonna speak out. Okay, I get it. I get that. I get that. That I can understand. That's something that I could look at and say, okay, I understand. I understand why you would want to do that, right? You're part of a community, um, and I guess in your mind, you feel protective of it. So it's just like I want to make sure that this doesn't happen to another unsuspecting person, right? That this person gets talked to this way or um, is led astray by this person. You know, I mean, this guy is saying all this salacious stuff, this really gross stuff that he shouldn't be saying to girls that are my age or younger, right? So again, I would get it if it was like, but there's like nothing here, man. At least so far. At least so far. Again, it's not to say that she won't come out with something that actually is, has some legitimacy to it. That's a little bit more ironclad. But for the time being, it's going to be just her word, you know, presumably against Puppeh's word if he ever decides to speak out. Maybe he'll admit to some wrongdoing. Maybe he'll show stuff himself. I don't know. But there is some more messages that I do want to go over, and I'm going to bring them up here in just a moment. I just got to make sure that they're redacted. Because again, the reason why, I know if people really want to, they could go find all this stuff on Twitter themselves. There's a reason I'm doing this though, because again, this person, they're already catching whatever heat for coming out about this. So it's not even about giving them any kind of heat or them catching heat. I should say it's more like this person said that they wanted it to be private. So I'm trying to, give them, I guess, that privacy, right? Even though the stuff is already out there. And honestly, that's not a courtesy that is owed to anybody once they make something public. But given the fact that this is presumably, again, a young person, a person that is a minor, a person that is alleged to be 16 years old, it's a kid. It's a kid. And I don't, for the sake of them being a kid and stuff, we'll redact. We'll keep their name out of it. Because again, even though they didn't have the wherewithal, but at least look, I guess in a way it's just kind of trying to look out for them, I guess you could say, in a sense. But again, I don't know if any of this is true, man. Hold on, I'm gonna bring these up here in a moment. I'm just redacting them real quick. because there's some interesting stuff, and I agree with the sentiment that this person put out when they responded to them. So I'm going to put this stuff up now. Hold on, so you guys can see it. Let me bring this stuff up. So here we go. This, and let me make sure here. All right. Yep. Looks like we're good. And I'll show you guys these ones real quick. Because this is from that same Twitter thread. Same Twitter thread that this person is on. And they're engaging people. And it's just like, again, it's interesting too, because they said that they didn't want to talk about it online, but they've been nothing but talking about it online, responding to people. But again, if they're a kid. So this person says, this person brings up a good point, right? Nazoxy. So am I missing something? Puppeh gave you compliments regarding your appearance, and then and you then making a tweet longer with TW, ARP, SA, etc. seems very misleading. When I don't know what they're trying to say. When he did, from the information you are giving, is that he gave you compliments, but there's an age gap? Because like, knowing Twitter, you know how this is all laid out. If what Puppeh did is only what's said in the tweet longer is insanely effed up, makes a huge amount of people just assume, oh, Puppeh's an ARPist, F him. And then the person responds, it's not misleading if you read the entire thing. I never said the TWs were regarding him. I covered topics that somehow related to that is going on. There's more screenshots, but I'm not going to post them. The compliments were weird and creepy. Okay. So from that's another red flag for me, because it makes me think, like, what do they really have, right? What do they really have against this guy? You know what I mean? And again, we saw him before. If the best we could expect were the ones from beforehand, if those are the worst of it, then I will say that there's probably nothing here. If those are the worst of it. Now, it's not to say she could have something that's a lot worse. But if that's the worst of it, or it's along those lines, yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure where this is going to go, or what's expected here, right? So this person says, it's not misleading if you read the entire thing. Well, like I said, on this app, people will make memes and comments that reach further than the original posting, painting a false image. A lot of people will open the tweet longer that is called Puppeh and see it labeled with TW ARP. And that is true. He's making a very solid point. One that I agree with exactly. You open it up, you open that doc up, and it makes it seem like the implication is that Puppeh did these things, right? That Puppeh did these things. So it says here, as I already see people making jokes, memes, and tweets about him being a ARPist when that's not the case. I don't support the comments he made, but I believe that this is blowing everything way out of proportion and only making the situation worse than it was when just the images leaked. And this person says, I can't control what others say or do. It's their fault if they don't read the entire thing. I'm not sure what you want me to say. I already made it clear. He didn't do anything to me in person. He just sent me weird messages about my body and appearance. That's all I can do for you. So again, a little bit of a red flag, right? It's just like, okay, what does that mean? And again, what can we expect to see in these messages coming up, right? And this person leaves it off saying, I understand that, and Kay, don't blame you. I just think it should be heavily restructured or altered in a way that will make the whole situation not blow out of proportion. This should never be on an app of tons of socially inept people to begin with. I guess on an app where there's tons of socially inept people to begin with. That's fair. That's a fair thing to say. It's a fair thing to say about Twitter, right? I don't know if it's a backpedal, but it reminds me of the Louis Caliber situation when Cyan was basically in her twit longer. She was making she was basically saying that she was SA'd, but then in her Twitter her Twitter post, she was saying, I never said that. And it's like, but that's literally what you're describing in your twit longer. What you're describing, saying that he forced himself into you when you said no, that's textbook definition of ARP. You know what I mean? Because you're claiming that he did something to you, right? That he basically committed a crime against you, but you're playing this game of, well, I didn't say that it was that. You know what I mean? But you're okay with not only implying that or lying about that and leading people you know what I mean? You're leading people to come to that conclusion that that's what happened. And that's what I hate about a lot of these online accusations, is that they're willing to do that. They're willing to lead people to come to this conclusion of something much more nefarious than what it actually might have been. If I had to guess, they probably had an inappropriate conversation at best, you know. At worst for Puppeh, he said, or he said something that was a lot more vulgar, that could be construed as something criminal, depending on the states that they both live in. You know what I mean? Because I know Puppeh is in Virginia, but I'm not gonna say where the girl lives, right? Because but based on what the laws are in their states and what was actually exchanged, especially if there was any overtly sexual communications or actual, like, pictures that were bad, yeah. um I'm I'm gonna go out on a limb. I mean, it's just a guess, and I could be entirely wrong. She could she could very well, like I said, have something much worse in her possession of something that he said or did. Um, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess it's probably not bad. It was probably just a lot of just dumb shit that was said. That was probably grossly inappropriate. Um, for a person, to be saying to another person, I guess, his age and her age. So I don't know. Where it stands right now. Like I said, I'm not about this whole, somebody is guilty until proven innocent. We have to wait and see. If anybody knows how to get a hold of Puppeh, I'd be down to talk to him and see and get his side of things. But maybe maybe he's already talking with somebody else, and he's just holding out and waiting to see how he's going to handle the situation. But if Technicals is there, I assume Technicals is probably already in the process of either getting in touch with this guy, because I know Technicals was in touch with his brother Squirk over the Wadi stuff. And Squirk is Puppeh's older brother. So, maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe there's already something that's happening there behind the scenes. I don't know. But as far as any kind of, like I said, as far as this being any kind of ironclad proof of anything, nah. You know what I mean? These are just, as usual, they're just allegations. And until somebody could prove, beyond a reasonable doubt that there's something much more nefarious, or that is at the very least, and I always say this, at the very least, if you have something, right, that is hard to explain, that could be enough in some instances. But we have to wait and see, I guess, what this person has, if they have something that's much more, nefarious or not. So, let me show you all this too, because I thought this was interesting, and I would have to agree with with my colleague on this. Let me show you. Let me show you all this. So this is an archive of a tweet, just in case. But I mean, it's still up. It's live. This guy Arbiter RPG said, "No, because how the fuck do you tweet something like this and then hit send? I don't fucking get it." Well, since SmashCon didn't explicitly say I can't sexually harass people, I know what I'll be doing. Obviously, not the not the best thing to tweet out there, but you know, Puppey's a kid, immature, probably thinks he's being edgy and funny with this stuff. Probably didn't realize, and probably should have realized, especially in this day and age, that people are always going to heavily scrutinize stuff like this. You know what I mean? So you see technical say it's a joke satirizing the need to explicitly tell people not to do it, which is what he was quote retweeting. Twit longers have a magical power to sap the nuance / context out of everything. LOL. And yeah, I would have to agree. I'd have to agree with that. Here's the thing. Could you imagine, and this is something that I was thinking about too, that I want to discuss with y'all real quick. Could you imagine if, let me go back to this real quick. My bad. I shouldn't have closed that out. Could you imagine if this tweet, right? This tweet was the impetus for this Memphis guy to be like, "Oh, I got something that could get him canceled. Now I'm going to use it. I'm going to play the cancel card on him because he just quote tweeted something stupid that I could piggyback off of." Could you imagine if that's what this is all about, right? If this is just an attempt to, you know, and again, in a sense, you know, I guess this is why you need to have more foresight with the things you talk about with people, either in DMs or whatever, right? Probably have a little bit more foresight because maybe that guy Memphis hates Puppeh. It was just like, oh, I got these DMs from this girl from a long time ago, or just a few months back, or last year, or whenever it was, right? It was last year, I believe. My bad. It was last year. This is the perfect opportunity to play this card. Boom. And, you know, look, kind of set himself up for it, right? By tweeting something out like that. Because there's people that are always looking for a reason. And he might have just handed people one here on a silver platter when he tweeted this out. Especially considering his situation. What's up? See the wave. How are you doing, buddy? So that'd be some shit. Or could you imagine if somebody else saw this, right, and was already planning, like as soon as they saw him tweet this, it was like, oh, I got him. You know, I got stuff they could definitely push that narrative that he's some kind of pred, or he's some kind of ped, or whatever, or some kind of a, you know, rumor, or assaulter, right? So can you imagine? It's crazy, man. But look, it is what it is. I mean, that's kind of where it stands right now. Again, don't know. We'll have to wait and see what else comes out. I guess we'll have to wait and see to when this person finally decides that they're going to do their twit longer, that is supposed to have more evidence in it. Maybe there's something that's really bad in there. I don't know. Maybe there's going to be a bombshell. But again, the person was saying that they refuse to release stuff, but yet they still want to release stuff. They might not. They said that Puppeh apologized to them. Maybe they won't. I don't know. And maybe, again, this will be another situation that it really was just an overreaction by people on the internet, because that seems to be what people are looking for, right? They're looking for a reason to cancel somebody, either because they have something personally against them, or maybe just it's just something that they get their rocks off to, right? Is just trying to cancel people just to seem virtuous in the public eye. Not even necessarily because they don't have anything personally against them. They just want to look like a good person, and they want to fight the good fight against people on the internet instead of doing the right thing out, you know, in the real world, right? You know, trying to do things by the book the right way. It's just like, no, you know what? I'll save myself the effort, and I'll just retweet stuff, and I'll like tweets, and I'll just I'll play the victim online, because, you know, that's totally the way to go. So, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. But I think I'll wrap it here, because that's pretty much where I'm at with this. There's really nothing else to add. Maybe I'll do a gaming stream soon, But as of right now, yeah, this is just kind of like, for me, I look at it as the same as the Cinnpie situation for the time being, right? Is that it's kind of inconclusive. There's really nothing to point towards any kind of absolute guilt. So but again, that could change. That could change. I guess again, just have to wait. But thank you all so much for joining me this fine Sunday evening. I appreciate y'all taking the time. I'll catch you on the next one. Please make sure you follow me on Twitter for any updates on streaming. I hope to do another stream soon. Probably going to do a gaming stream where we could just chill and talk about whatever. We could even talk about this if you guys want, whatever. NGD mashups. What is it the Smash community doing? What is it that the Smash community doing? The naughty, like, with all these stories and cases, are putting a new meaning to the Smash part. Yeah, I don't know. They're just all weird, man. They're just all weird. Seems like it's a community full of either people that are really attention seeking or just flat out degenerate. I don't know. Take your pick. But again, that's where it's at. Appreciate you all joining me this fine Sunday evening. I'll catch you on the next one. You all have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. Peace.